Hi guys, Joe here from decodingmarkets.com, and in this video I want to talk about how to stalk the very best trade setups. So as a trader, you only need one or two good trades to pay for the whole month and sometimes the whole year. You could be treading water or losing money for weeks before you catch that one big move that pays for all of your losses. So because of this, most trading books recommend you stay disciplined and wait patiently for only the best setups. And that's really good advice, but it's not always easy. So here are a few tips to help you stalk the best trade setups. So number one, keep some cash aside. So one thing about financial markets is that they have a long tail distribution. And that means a lot of trading strategies experience lots of small wins and lots of small losses before you get that big winner. So you don't know when that big winner is going to come. So that's why you shouldn't bet too much on any one trade. You need to have enough money left put aside for when that big opportunity comes, you can execute. And number two, use a punch card system. So Warren Buffett is fond of saying that if investors had a punch card with 20 slots to represent the investments they could make throughout their entire life, they would do much better. The idea is that if you are only allowed to make 20 investments over your entire lifetime, you'd put a lot more effort into making sure those 20 were good investments. And the same principle can be applied to short-term trading as well. If you're a day trader or a swing trader, limit yourself to one trade a day or one trade a week and make sure that trade is a good one. If you spend enough time watching charts and reading news, you can usually find one good trade setup per day, but of course it depends on your trading personality. But just remember to be very selective and use that punch card system. Okay, 3. Define what your perfect trade setup looks like. So obviously if you're going to wait patiently for the perfect trade setup, then clearly you need to have a very good idea of what that setup looks like. So what are the signs, patterns, news events that lead up to that perfect trade? You need to take the time to define what that setup is, and then you need to know what you're going to do when it arrives. And once you've got this entirely locked down, you simply need the discipline to wait for it. Okay, next, develop confidence in your perfect trade setup. So obviously if you're going to have a trade setup, you need to have enough confidence to execute on it when it comes along. But how can you develop that confidence? Well, the way I do it is I backtest the trade setup on historical data. So I use a backtesting platform, AmiBroker, and I will test my setup over thousands of trades over many years of historical data. Now, the more trades I get in that sample, the more confident I can be in the effectiveness of that trade setup. And that's really, in my opinion, the best way to develop confidence in your trade setup. So another option would be to journal your trades. So what you do is every single trade you take, you write it in your journal, you write the reasons, and you could include a screenshot of your trade, of your chart setup. Now the problem with this is that you're not going to be able to record that many trades, but you do want at least 100 trades, and then you can do some analysis and see whether your trade setup is a strong one or not. Okay, next step, obviously you have to stay patient and disciplined when you're waiting for your trade setup to come along. And my only real tip for this is that if you have developed an edge, if you do have an edge, then just don't mess about, just wait for it to come along and then you can execute it. If you have backtested that setup, it's going to give you more confidence to do this. And finally, don't miss the big trades. Now this is an important one because as I said earlier, a lot of financial markets have that long tail distribution, and that means you can go through long losing streaks before you get that big winning trade. So I've run a trading system just recently, a simple trend following system, and you can see in the backtest that it's got a consecutive losing streak of 20 trades. Now if you can imagine trading that system, after 20 trades you're going to be feeling pretty downbeat and you may not want to take the next trade, but it's that next trade that could be the big winner that pays for all of those losers. So once again, if you do have a trade set up and you've backtested it and you've got that confidence in it, or maybe you've just been trading it for a very long time, Just make sure you execute it every single time so you don't miss out on that big winner.